Hi, we're in Singapore today and I'm with Vinod Kumar, who's the MD and CEO of Tata Communications, and Mark Thompson, who is part of the Virgin Group, has been an instrumental builder in the Apple empire, best-selling author, and also the head of Richard Branson's entrepreneurial program. So I'm here today talking to them about what drives businesses of the future. What is the secret success of businesses going into the next few years? And if I had to ask you a question is, what do you think the two most important things are for a company to stay competitive in the market today?
That's a long list, Ross, but the two most important things for me will be having a program of learning and driving a passion for learning, and secondly, to have a team that's highly energized by a purpose for the business. At the Tatas, there's a statement which says the business of business is more than business. And I really believe in that. I think unless you have a real purpose around which an organization rallies, it's not sustainable. And you need people who are enthused by that, who bought into it, and it needs to be a long-term purpose that's defined. So I'd say learning and people.
It makes so much sense. I think about how in even the last 24 months, there's also been kind of a transformation added on to learning and people where I'd say themes emerging now are disruption and engagement, where we're seeing organizations that are able to kind of disrupt the status quo in the favor of their customers. I'm thinking of an Airbnb or an Uber that's able to tilt the competitive landscape in an engaging way. And that is really the second theme, which is trying to find employees who are as engaged in serving those customers at a higher level of energy and risk-taking than in the past. And so those two emerging themes of disruption and engagement, I think, are key to the evolution of businesses in a competitive market right now.
So I suppose there's a big element of learning and continuous learning. And,
absolutely.
You know, how do you learn how to learn today?
How would you feel about that? We never stopped, we never finished, are we?
We never finished, and that's a tough admission. It's actually a very good point that you make. But personally for me, learning is a three-step process. It's an ongoing process, but 3 stages of learning. First is to accept that you're ignorant. The second is to go and try and fix that ignorance by acquiring knowledge and seeking knowledge from others to plug some gaps. And then third, coming back to accepting that you will stay ignorant. Right? and if you do, I believe that the receptacle is ready to receive. The minute you think you mastered something, I think you're doomed for failure. And also in the world around us today, we all know that the conventional way of going to school and then university and maybe doing another program is not where the learning stops. We supplement it with experiences we gain on the job and things that we do in life every day. But that's not enough also. I think you need to complement the early learning or that you get in a structured environment with the wisdom that you gain through experience, with additional formal learning. It might not be back in a classroom, but you do need to make an effort to go and learn about specific things. You don't always need to learn with a purpose. That's my other big thing about learning. Is just learn about something just to get excited, and then your mind will then connect the dots and create new possibilities.
Never-ending exercising those muscles.
Absolutely, and just be comfortable being ignorant, and I'm very comfortable.
That's why we're so comfortable today. Is knowing that. It's kind of when you think about it, it's a sense of paradox, because attracting the kind of people who love to learn continuously and have an appetite for that. It's almost a paradox, because the people who do that are those who have the humility to realize nothing gets done alone. Right. They only do things with and through other people, but at the same time have this incredible hubris. Because you've got to believe that you deserve to be world class, that you deserve to be able to have the customer's business. And so that takes this almost driving ambition to make the numbers and to deliver for customers, and at the same time realize I'm not done, I don't know it all, and I have to do it with and through other people. And so I think that's why it's so extraordinary and personal now to find leaders who have the appetite to learn, because they have that ability to have hubris and humility at the same time.
That's a very well put statement, hubris and humility.
So Mark, you've worked with 2 of the world's top leaders, Steve Jobs and Richard Branson, and what do you think the secret of their success was as leaders? If you had to, pick out with the two of them? What made them successful?
When I think about what Vinod was saying, I mean, he has all the same characteristics here. When you have constant learning, this ability to really realize that what you've learned so far is just scratching the surface and is going to be able to inspire other people to try to have that same appetite. The two of them couldn't be more different from each other. Richard Branson's a cheerleader, and he realizes that he needs to find people who have vision, and he won't try to engage in any entrepreneurial exercise until he's found someone who's proven that they have purpose, passion, and a track record of performance behind that. And the purpose in this case means that this has to matter enough to a cause or a company or to a community or to customers. In other words, be bigger than just you. And then that somehow resonates with you personally and gets you up in the morning and makes you feel resilient when you have a setback, because anything worth doing is going to have its huge set of complications and setbacks. And then is willing to deliver on those goods, because it's great to have a cause, but you still have to make the numbers. You have to show the track record of success. Warren Buffett, who has 200 companies, won't even look at your resume unless you're a person who's had the purpose, passion, and performance pretty clearly defined as who you are. This has got to be bigger than who you are. And it's got to be about us, not just about you.
Yeah. And Vinod, what do you look for in people that you hire? I mean, what do you think is, what are the type of people that you're wanting to attract as you take the business forward in the next few years?
I think it really boils down to attitude, and attitude, right? Mark really mentioned some very important traits in successful leaders. And you need to see that in people. I think it's people who are too hung up on where they went to school or which company they worked in or which was the last big project they delivered. It's all nice and necessary, but beyond that, it's about, do you really believe that, do you have a purpose, right? And what is that purpose? Is that purpose more than just making money, right? There's nothing wrong with making money and capitalism, I endorse it fully, but it has to be more than that. How do you want to change the world? What fingerprint do you want to leave when you leave an organization? How do you see people? Do you see people as resources, or do you see people as that you use and throw away, or do you see people as valuable resources that you take, nurture, help them grow, and leave them as stronger and bigger individuals? That's what I'm looking for in people, and also finally people who can work as a team. Prima donnas don't work, especially in our business. We really need those who can roll up their sleeves and work with others, and who really believe in a multiplier effect. And finally, it's the energy of people, right? End of the day, I say that you've got to be with people at the workplace that you like. And my thinking on that is a little bit different from many others who say, I don't need to like you, I just need to respect you. I spend 18 hours a day at work. That may be an average or maybe an understatement. But I'd rather be with people I like, right? And sometimes I find it tough to sell that idea that as colleagues, I expect you to like each other also. And my job as a leader is to facilitate an environment where we like each other as professionals, but we also, hopefully can establish a deeper connect beyond that. That's not everybody's thinking, and I know there are different views on that, but I'd like to, when I interview someone, I'd like to, also have a glass of wine with them if I'm going to work with them, and have a conversation, understand who they are, where they come from, where they want to go, and help them in that journey, and expect them to help me in my journey as well.